Dominica plans to create history as it rebuilds after Hurricane Maria, and the UN says it's got the islands back. Our top story in Caribbean Newsline for Monday, October 9th from the CMC News Center in Bridgetown. I'm Dawn Paris. Good evening. As it moves to rebuild from the devastation caused by Hurricane Maria, Dominica is on a mission to become the world's first climate-resilient nation. Prime Minister Roosevelt Skerritt shared that vision with United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres when he visited the hurricane-hit island on Sunday. The Category 5 hurricane made a direct hit on Dominica on September 18th, causing a widespread devastation. And Skerritt said while the situation is not one Dominica ever wanted to find itself in, it presents an opportunity for the Eastern Caribbean nation to create world history.
Our devastation is so complete that our recovery has to be total. And so we have a unique opportunity to be an example to the world, an example of how an entire nation rebounds from disaster and how an entire nation can be climate resilient for the future. We did not choose this opportunity. We did not wish it. Having had it thrust upon us, we have chosen actively and decisively to be that example to the world.
Responding to questions after a joint press conference with the UN boss, Skerritt gave an idea of what a climate-resilient Dominica would look like. In addition to continuing the push towards renewable energy, which includes a mix of solar and geothermal energy, he said the plan is to build smart hospitals and medical facilities, infrastructure and homes.
When we rebuild this country as a resilient nation, we should not have a situation where our main hospital becomes dysfunctional, unable to provide some of the most basic services to our citizens. So we're learning from our experiences, and we'll be seeking the best advice the world can offer in building this infrastructure, in the designs of the infrastructure, in the reciting of those pieces of infrastructure, so that anytime we're subjected to this kind of harsh realities, we'll be in a better position to, one, withstand these situations, but also critically to bounce back much quicker.
Skerritt says it's too early to say what that effort will cost, but he says in the weeks and months ahead, he'll give more details about the plans to make every sector in the island climate resilient. And he says the UN has an important role in guiding Dominica on that journey. Well, the UN chief answered that call almost immediately, assuring Skerritt that Dominica has the UN's full support. During his visit, the first for any UN boss to Dominica, Guterres took stock of the immense hurricane damage and the relief efforts underway and paid tribute to Skerritt for his vision to not only rebuild, but rebuild better.
There must be a review of the way middle-income countries that are particularly vulnerable to external shocks are supported with direct support, with concessional loans. There must be new financial instruments, bonds of different natures, linked namely to the build-up of resilience. There must be a way to look into the depth of these countries and to transform it into an instrument of reconstruction and resilience. There must be a number of innovative forms of financing that are essential for this country to be able, even with the extraordinary effort of the government of the people, for the country to be able to rebuild itself.
Guterres said the international community must understand that the level of support Dominica requires cannot be achieved through the traditional financing instruments. He said the UN has Dominica's back in that regard as well, in getting the rest of the world to understand its responsibility as it relates to climate change.
I'd like to say how much I appreciate the vision and the wisdom with which the Prime Minister has claimed that not only he wants the country to be reconstructed, but he wants the country to become the first entirely climate resilient country in the world, and I would say the first green climate resilient country in the world, because that is what I heard in the different meetings we had. In whatever we will be able to do, the United Nations is entirely at your side.
The UN and its partners recently launched an appeal for $31.1 million to reach over 90% of Dominicans, that's about 65,000 people, in the next 3 months. The UN Secretary General also paid a visit to Barbuda, which was left uninhabitable by Hurricane Irma early last month. And having seen firsthand the destruction caused by both Irma and Maria, he called for the full mobilization of the international community to support the people of affected countries. Guterres said he has witnessed a level of destruction he had never before seen in his life. In fact, he described Barbuda as a paradise transformed into hell, and he renewed his commitment to seeing that small island states affected by devastating hurricanes remain in the forefront of consideration for critical aid needed to rebuild. He also stressed the need to accelerate climate action.
Hurricane Irma had winds of 300 kilometers per hour for 37 hours. This is the longest such period ever recorded. In the last 30 years, we have tripled the number of natural disasters and quintupled the economic losses due to these natural disasters. So the link between climate change and the devastations we are witnessing is clear, and there is a collective responsibility of the international community to stop this suicidal development. And for that, it's essential that the Paris Agreement on climate change is fully endorsed and respected, but also to recognize that the commitments made in Paris are not enough. So we need an enhanced engagement of the international community in order to be able to dominate climate change and to avoid this dramatic multiplication of disasters we are seeing even more dramatic in the future.
Coming up in Caribbean Newsline, the future of Caribbean tourism under the spotlight. We'll be right back.
Welcome to the gem of the Caribbean, Antigua and Barbuda.
A warm welcome awaits you at our state-of-the-art VC Bird International Airport.
I must say that Antigua is in wonderful shape. 5 minutes off the boat and we're already in paradise.
Antigua was not that damaged by the storm as much as Barbuda was. The hotels are still open, the beaches are still clean, and the people are still friendly.
With Antigua, it's the people that really await you.
Hurricane Irma may have hit a little bit, but you can't even tell that it was ever here. The beach is wonderful. I'm having a great time.
Everything is just as we remember. No storm damage.
We're here and we're open.
And we're better than ever.
I do a lot of destination weddings, and I see weddings that could happen here, and they would be in love with it.
I can't say enough about how in love with Antigua I am.
It is one nation, two islands, and I'm loving it.
Do you want a real Barbadian experience with peace and tranquility? A home away from home feeling? Come and stay at Best E Villas. We offer 2 amazing locations to choose from, Prospect St. James or Christchurch. Plan a staycation for your anniversary, birthdays, summer or winter breaks, or any special event. Best E Villas is located in close proximity to our lovely beaches. Call us now at 246-425-9751 or visit us at bestevillas.com and make your booking for the best in villas.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the color of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
Welcome back. The future of Caribbean tourism will be under the spotlight this week as Grenada hosts the Caribbean Tourism Organization's State of the Industry Conference, SOTIC 2017. The conference, which comes on the heels of 3 deadly hurricanes in the region, will, among other things, discuss disaster mitigation and preparedness specifically to the sector. In a one-day destination brief held for media attending the conference, there were reports of mixed fortunes for Caribbean destinations this season. Nonetheless, the messages of hope and plans to build back better resonated with all. CMC's Nicole Best is attending the conference and files this report.
of Caribbean countries remain optimistic about their tourism product despite the infrastructural challenges faced following the passage of the recent hurricanes. They've been telling the regional media that no effort is being spared to ensure that their industries return to normalcy as soon as possible. They have been speaking at the opening of the State of the Industry Conference 2017 being held in Grenada under the auspices of the Grenada Tourism Authority and the Caribbean Tourism Organization. Take, for instance, St. Martin, which was devastated by Hurricane Irma. Head of the St. Martin Tourist Bureau, Rolando Brisson, spoke to the media at SOTIC 2017 via Skype. He said despite losing 70% of its hotel stock, all are working hard to get the country back on track, adding that its Princess Juliana Airport, a major regional hub, will reopen with limited service on Tuesday.
Yes, the airport is going to be functioning in a much more limited capacity. It's not going to be a fully air-conditioned business, no. We are going to have a certain section, which we know as the D gates, which is on, when you're facing the airport on the right side, that is going to be available to passengers. But we are going to also erect tents to facilitate a flow of passengers.
The Bahamas, which had the misfortune of being hit by hurricanes Irma, Jose and Maria within weeks of each other, says it has had a dampened tourism season so far this year, but it's not primarily because of hurricane damage.
We've had a soft 2017 in terms of airlift for the first quarter, and we can attribute it to a number of things. Grand Bahama continues to lower our numbers across the spectrum. I think Grand Bahama is down, Freeport, by 48% year on year. So when you add that statistic to your overall, the numbers are a lot lower. What I failed to mention are the two major hotels in Grand Bahama, Memories Hotel and Al Lucaia, both closed still from Hurricane Matthew. And they account for 60% of hotel inventory in Grand Bahama.
But other Caribbean islands appear to be reaping benefits. Host country Grenada says they expect an increase in cruise visitor arrivals as a result of changed itinerary.
Our cruise season is showing growth for the coming winter season. We had already projected growth of something like 27% over the last cruise season, 2016, 2017. So we're already looking good. But as you can imagine, as a result of the itinerary changes now to the destination, to the region, we are actually potentially going to see an increase of passengers to Grenada this season. We're expecting 28 more cruise ships.
Barbados has been spared the wrath of the recent hurricanes and expects to record a third straight year of growth attributed to increases both in room stock and airlift capacity.
Investors are confident that Barbados is an island that can grow and they can make money doing hotel tourism projects. So it's really growth of rooms and it's growth of the air capacity. And one follows the other. And we see no turnaround in the immediate future in that trend.
SOTIC 2017 is being held under the theme, Supercharging the Caribbean Brand, Meeting the Needs of the New Explorers. In St. George's, Grenada, Nicole Best, CMC News.
Police in Trinidad and Tobago are searching for an ex-inmate who allegedly killed a prison officer over the weekend. Richard Sandy, who was a prison officer for 22 years, was shot in a bar on Saturday night and died Sunday morning at the San Fernando General Hospital. The 48-year-old father of 5 was in the establishment when he was approached by a man who was recently released from prison. The killer, who was identified by witnesses, pointed the gun at Sandy, said something to him, and then shot him. And the prison officer's widow, Jennifer Sandy, is now worried about her safety and that of her family because she says a few months ago her late husband got a letter that contained a threat not only to his life but the lives of their children. She said it's a threat that was ignored by authorities. We get more in the CNews report.
His wife told us he was to celebrate his birthday on Monday and was to have family over on Sunday. She described him as a loving, caring family man. However, Jennifer Sandy did say there was a threat to her husband's life.
He got a threatening letter from a prisoner claiming that he would kill him and he will come and rape his wife and kill his children and stuff. And when he took it to the authorities, they said that he faked that letter. He made somebody write the letter and send it to him. And nothing was ever done about it. It was just like a laughing stock, and it was swept under the carpet.
And now she's fearful for her safety and that of her family.
Is he going to come after me? Is he going to come after my kids? You know, how is the investigation going? I would like to know these things. I am devastated. I am in shock. I am totally devastated, but I have to try to keep up because my children, they are broken. My daughter, she's lying, she's just sleeping. She doesn't want to be disturbed. So I have to be the backbone because I am the backbone of my family now. You know, I no longer have my husband bone to rely on or to lean on. So I have to be the backbone. So I have to keep up.
As a result of what happened to her husband, she wants the authorities to take seriously all reports of threats to the lives of prison officers.
Meantime, President of the Prison Officers Association, Saron Richards, says the prison service in Trinidad and Tobago is under threat. And he called on Prime Minister Dr. Keith Rowley, who's head of the National Security Council, to intervene to ensure laws are put in place to protect these officers. He says over the last 10 years, at least 18 of them have been murdered.
And you cannot have a Prime Minister sitting idly by and allowing for the apparatus of the state to be constantly attacked. Prison officers are being killed in this country for performing their jobs. That's the reality. How many more prison officers we have to bury before the state take decisive action? How much more? We live in a country where nothing is taken seriously, and you have law enforcement officials under constant attack and not being treated with in any meaningful way by the state. In other countries where these similar trends exist, laws are implemented for the protection of prison officers, and also laws implemented to deter persons from wanting to threaten, going on to harm or even killing prison officers.
Ahead in Newsline Sport, concern about West Indies women's batting ahead of the ODI series against Sri Lanka women. Stay with us.
In a place where legends start, the beach is just the beginning. So live a little for the exhilaration and the colour of every moment, where time is and life is a spirited event. Immerse yourself in the culture, the music, the people, the island. Love Antigua and Barbuda. Embrace an experience that leaves you breathless, from cricket to sailing week to carnival and more. Antigua and Barbuda, the beach is just the beginning.
Do you want a real Barbadian experience with peace and tranquility? A home away from home feeling? Come and stay at Best E Villas. We offer 2 amazing locations to choose from, Prospect St. James or Christchurch. Plan a staycation for your anniversary, birthdays, summer or winter breaks, or any special event. Best E Villas is located in close proximity to our lovely beaches. Call us now at 246-425-9751 or visit us at bestevillas.com and make your booking for the best in villas.
We continue with sports now. Captain Stephanie Taylor stroked a half-century in Sunday's practice match against Trinidad and Tobago under-19s, but West Indies women's batting remain a concern heading into the one-day international series against Sri Lanka women starting on Wednesday. Opting to bat first at the Brian Lara Stadium, the Windies women could only manage 180 for 9 off 45.1 overs, with Taylor scoring 51 before retiring. They were languishing at 76 for 5 before Taylor came to her side's rescue in 2 productive stands. First, Taylor put on 43 for the 6th wicket with Kaisia Knight before adding a further 57 for the 7th with Aguilera. However, the top order failure, which was a feature of the side's wretched campaign in last summer's Women's World Cup in England, will concern new head coach Henderson Springer. Both openers, Hayley Matthews and Renice Boyce, failed, while Chilean Nation and Kishona Knight also found runs elusive. In football, Jamaica's Reggae Boys displayed flashes of brilliance but were eventually overpowered by Saudi Arabia as the hosts strolled to a 5-2 victory in their Tier 2 friendly game on Saturday. Playing at the King Abdullah Sports City Stadium, Jamaica got a goal in each half from Jamil Hardware and Marvin Morgan to keep Saudi Arabia on their toes, but 3 goals in the first half handed the Saudis a 3-1 lead at the break, and 2 more in the second half reinforced the host dominance. The defeat was the second for the Caribbean side in 4 meetings between the two teams. Jamaican-born and Caribbean champion rider Marlo Rodman dominated the final leg of a prestigious cycling classic in Port of Spain last Friday. He won both the 4-lap and 30-lap circuits with his team Perfection Services Limited. Ruskin Mark of C-Sport was at the venue to take in the action and filed this report.
His first order of business was in the 2-lap sprint event for international and invitational riders, with former King of the Road Emil Abraham in the mix. He was positioned next to Rodman, who was among the favorites. And when they started, it was each man for himself as they tried to get to the front of the pack to stay out of harm's way, especially around the 4 corners of the circuit. And when they took bell, they were still nicely bunched together with all of the principals still in the fray. But in the rush for home, the power of Marlo Rodman came to the fore, and the PSL rider got his wheel in front, and he stayed there to flash across the line ahead of Terry Smart of Raiders and another Raider in Colin Wilson filling 3rd. The Masters 40-49 was eagerly anticipated as these riders can still produce some amazingly high speeds in heated competition, which normally excites. But in this one, they got strung out quite early with the leaders holding sway throughout. And in the end, it was Vincente Zanabria of Braves who stayed the course to win impressively, well ahead of Mark Hussain of Breakaway, with Marlon Joseph of Hummingbird in 3rd. Then it was time for what the fans gathered to see, the main event, going 35 laps. And they were full of anticipation, hoping to at least see the locals compete well with the foreigners, if not win the race outright. It was a big bunch that faced the starters, and they got bell immediately for one of the many preems in the race where riders can collect lucrative cash prizes for winning designated laps once they've finished the race. And some riders would take turns at the lead as they tried to burn off the legs of their competitors, which is all part of the team strategy. And Team PSL was working it to perfection, picking up several of the preem laps, while their main sprinters were tucked in the main peloton, just biding their time until the latter stages. And when they got bell with 1 lap to go, it was still anybody's race. It came down to an exciting sprint finish where the power of Marlo Rodman again served him in good stead, and he crossed first with Lucas Cottinson of Embrace the World Cycle Club 2nd and Louis Diaz of Braves 3rd, while Emil Abraham of Pharmaco filled a creditable 4th.
Switching sports now, Lewis Hamilton staved off a challenge from 20-year-old Max Verstappen to clinch a thrilling win in the Japanese Grand Prix on Sunday and extend his lead in the Formula One Drivers' Championship. The 32-year-old started on pole, and after ridding himself of main challenger Ferrari's Sebastian Vettel through a faulty spark plug, he controlled the race to land his 8th win of the season. But the triumph was not as easy as Hamilton anticipated, as Verstappen produced impressive pace and was only 1.2 seconds behind when the three-time world champion took the checkered flag. He was 5 seconds behind on the 21st lap, but pressed Hamilton and cut the lead to under a second at one stage. But Hamilton held his nerve and the lead to take the win in 1 hour, 27 minutes and 31 seconds. The victory saw Hamilton increase his lead over Vettel at the top to 59 points, inching ever closer to a 4th world title with 4 races remaining in the season. Veteran Barbadian jockey Patrick Husbands produced a dominant gate-to-wire ride aboard hot favorite Wonder Godot to win the $125,000 Mazarine Stakes for a record 7th time at Woodbine on Saturday. The 44-year-old, a 7-time champion at the celebrated Canadian racetrack, led every step of the way with the Mark Cass-trained brown filly to dismiss the 2-year-old fillies by 6 lengths in a time of 1 minute 44.14 seconds. The race marked Wonder Godot's first outing on the polytrack surface in only her 3rd start overall, and Husbands praised the way the filly had adapted. Woodbine track announcer Robert Geller has the call.
AV's Mineshaft on the outside, called on, but as they turn, Wonder Godot in front at the top of the lane. Shamrock Rose trying to fight back. A length and a half away is AV's Mineshaft down the lane. Wonder Godot out in front by over a length and a half, now 2.5, and is putting them away in the Mazarine in fine style. And at every single point of this race, totally professional and totally captured what was a very impressive win. Wonder Godot by 5.5 to Shamrock Rose Ladies Night at AV's Mineshaft.
And that's the sport. We'll be right back.
Through the services offered by the Caribbean Media Corporation and Carib Vision. Our distribution provides a platform on cable, terrestrial television, and websites. We cover carnivals and events from across the region. We can bring your event live and alive to the world. For music makers, program producers, businesses, we can expand your reach to in excess of 2 million households daily. Our other services include news updates to enhance your media products, studio space for program and development. We can facilitate the launch of new products and services and training. Contact us and we will help you unleash your creative ability, develop products and services, and provide the medium to watch them grow. Contact Loretta Skeet at cmccaribbean.com or call her 1-246-467-1044 or 1-246-253-3889. Call and book your carnival or event today.
Again, the major developments of this day. Dominica on a mission to rebuild after Hurricane Maria as the world's first climate-resilient nation. And in sport, concern about West Indies women's batting ahead of the ODI series against Sri Lanka women. And that's Caribbean Newsline. For news and sports around the clock, log on to ConnellNews.com. We'll be back here again tomorrow. But from all of us at CMC News, thank you for watching and good night.